Chuo Kikuu cha Sokoine cha Kilimo SUA.
Good afternoon, everyone. You are welcome so much to today's session. My name is Miss Rejoyce Otaru from Sokoine University of Agriculture, Department of Tourism and Recreation. Today we are going to start from our course BTM 115, Museum, Monuments and Heritage Sites. And this is the Model 3 from Destination Image and Myth. And the learning objective of today, I will expect you by the end of this session to come up with 3 main objectives. And first one is to be able to explain the concept of destination image and myth and describe how they are formed in museum, monuments, and heritage tourism. But also, I'll expect you to be able to analyze how positive and negative destination image and myth influence tourism development and tourist decision making. And finally, I will expect you to be able to propose strategies to improve and manage destination image. So, what is destination image and myth? And in terms of definition, destination image is the expression of all objective knowledge, prejudice, imagination, and emotional thoughts of an individual or group about a particular location. It's a total of all belief, ideas, and impressions that people associate with a destination. And when it comes to myth, it's a commonly held belief or stories about destination that may be true, exaggerated, or false. So both destination image and myth strongly influence how tourists perceive museum, monuments, and heritage sites. And we all know their perception towards a destination will influence their decision whether to visit that place, how much to spend in that destination, and so far on, as far as their decision is concerned. So, destination image is very subjective. And this is because destination image, it depends with the perception of the tourist. So the subjective interpretation of the reality of the tourist will vary from one tourist to another. And the image tourists have of a destination is largely subjective because it's based on the perception each tourist has of all destinations they have been or have heard about. So what we expect the destination image or perception of one tourist who has visited maybe 5 destinations or heard about the same destination before visiting that place will be quite different from another tourist who has never been to any destination. So the laws of 1995 has stated that the majority of tourists have experiences with other destinations, and their perception are influenced commonly by the comparison among the facilities, attractions, and service standard which may offer similar product or service in that particular destination. So the image will be created after those tourists being able to compare the facilities, the experience they got or they heard about, and that will be one of the main things that will create their image towards that particular destination. So in a simple way, what we can say is that if you have been into many destinations, and especially in this subject, we are talking about museum, monuments, and heritage sites. So if you have been into many destinations of the same kind, which offer the same service or the same products, your experience towards those destinations will really affect your image or your perception towards the current destination that you are visiting or you are planning to visit. So the influence of destination myth to tourism. as we have said from the definition, that the destination myth is a total commonly held belief or stories about the destination. And these stories, remember, they may be true, they may be false, they may be really exaggerated. And these beliefs, how does it really influence the decision of the tourism? Or how does it influence the tourism in a particular destination? So what are the common myths? This will include that museums are boring, and I think maybe you have heard about that. And maybe even when you were planning to start this course, you had that in your mind, like, museum course? This will really be boring. And another common myth is museums are outdated and are only for students or for researchers. So someone who wants to experience nature, who wants to experience the historical richness of a destination, if this person has this kind of image or of belief, automatically it will affect his decision to visit that particular museum. But other beliefs include some monuments and heritage sites are believed to be unsafe. Maybe you have heard about that. Cursed, or associated with dark history. Maybe the death of people in that particular area, and all those scenarios that will make someone fear to visit that place. So such myths will reduce visitation, especially among youth and international tourists, because we always know that international tourists really value security. So if they heard, like, if I visited this particular destination, I may not be safe, that place is really associated with dark tourism or dark history, that tourist will not really bear to travel from his or her own country to visit that particular destination, which will make that person real unsafe. But now coming to youth, we always like things that are so exciting, that will make us feel excited, feel happy, enjoying. And you know, when it comes to tourism, it's all about enjoyment and pleasure. So if that person will hear, like, that place is boring, I don't think if there is any youth, including yourself, you will be able to pay your money to go somewhere to be bored. Will you do that? Will you do that? So I think there is no any of the youth, and not only youth, any tourist who will like to visit a place, the place where he will be bored. And this kind of negative belief or myth will really affect the decision of tourists to visit that particular destination. So I would really like to go deeper and try to find what are the examples of the destination myth in our country, especially in Tanzania. Maybe what have you heard about Ngorongoro? Maybe about Bagamoyo? Maybe about Zanzibar? Do you have any myth about those destinations? And can I get some of you share your experience with the class? Any myth? Oh, thank you. Welcome.
Yes. In my humble opinion, one of the myths which I know is one grave which found in Bagamoyo.
Mm-hmm.
Well, people believe that there is a certain grave where there are the lovers who died in the previous era.
Mm-hmm.
were buried there. So the myth which is found there is that when you go there at that grave, you can pay if you are married, maybe have a lot of different circumstances. And not only that, also if you are lover, you are in maybe courtship. If you are lover, there's a lot of things which is not going good or which you don't accept them. You can go there to pray so that those lovers who buried there can give you maybe
blessings.
Yeah.
Oh, that's really interesting. So in your case, do you think that image, not only him, in your class, we have heard about the myth that he has said. So do you think that myth how will it influence your decision as a tourist to visit Bagamoyo, especially to see that grave? How will it influence you? He said that in that place in Bagamoyo there is a grave of lovers who died long time ago, and it is believed, which is a myth we are talking about, if you have any conflict in your marriage or in your relationship and you go there to pray in that grave, then you will get blessings so that your marriage or your relationship will settle. Do you think that will influence a tourist to visit the place, especially those who are in relationships? I think that is a very good example whereby sometimes those myths, maybe as we have said, it may be true, it may be false, it may be just exaggerated, but in one way or another, it may influence tourists to visit. Maybe someone will say, okay, let me just go there. Maybe my marriage will be okay. Maybe my relationship will be sorted. So I think that is a very good example we can learn from. Thank you so much. So let's continue to see the influence of destination image to tourism. Now let's see, we have got positive destination image and negative destination image, and both of them influence tourism. And one thing to remember is that the positive image will influence positively the decision of tourists, and the negative image will do vice versa. So, for example, positive image includes safety, authenticity, good management, rich culture, and educational value. So, we can see all of these factors that will influence a tourist to make positively to make decision to travel to that destination. But when it comes to negative image, include poor maintenance, poor facilities in that particular area. Maybe the destination is very old. You know, when you talk about cultural stuffs or historical stuffs, historical heritage sites, you have that image that the place will be very local. They may not have security, so the issue of insecurity, lack of facilities, or outdated display. So these are all negative image that people may have towards a particular destination. And in terms of tourism, it really affects negatively, whereby people will not be influenced to travel to see or to visit destination which has poor maintenance, insecurities, lack of facilities, as well as outdated display. And remember, these are images. They may be true, and sometimes they may not be true as far as the destination is. And let's see how positive image can influence tourist decision. This include when it comes to positive image, like if the place is rich in culture, is said to be to have a great educational value, this will positively influence the tourist arrival and investment, as well as repeat visits, or will also result to loyalty in terms of tourists. So the negative image will reduce visitor number and discourage tourism development. So you can see how really it is dangerous, especially having negative perception towards a particular destination. So it will reduce the visitor number, and it will discourage the development of that particular destination. So let's see the image types. So we have got primary image and secondary image. As far as primary image is concerned, this includes after visiting destination. So when you visit a destination, now you have a primary image because you have physically visited the place. And sometimes it may not be mass physical. We know that we have digital museums or digital destination where you can visit those places just online. So after visiting that place, you can start at that time having primary image, but also having a recall of the experience you incurred during your visit. That will all made a primary image. But when it comes to secondary image, this is before visiting the destination. So before visiting a destination, any image that tourist has towards a particular destination, that is a secondary image because this person have never been there. So maybe this image, how does it created? So in the next slides, we will see how is that secondary image created, especially before the tourist has arrived to a particular destination. And this image was adopted from Phelps, Gans, and Manfeld, who were analyzes the concept of destination and come up with this image. So when it comes to secondary image, we want to see how is it created, but what are the types of secondary image? The first one is organic or informal image. And this is based on informal messages and independent of the organization of the destination. So, secondary image from other sources apart from the destination itself, that we will call it organic image. But induced or formation image, this is totally depend on the destination efforts, whereby it includes persuasive messages from the management of the destination and promotion by the organization. So can you see the difference between organic secondary image and induced secondary image? Can you see the difference? So, as we have seen the types of secondary image, this will mark the end of session 1. Let's go for a short break and we will be back to see the sources of destination image formation and the factors that affect destination image focus. Thank you so much for listening. Let's go for a short break and we'll meet again.
Chuo Kikuu cha Sokoine cha Kilimo SUA.